is getting a little tighter now for Plan B. The pressure is on the Democrats to get this done. Plan A didn't work out very well for them. The parliamentarian turned it down. They turned down the amnesty for DACA recipients, TPS. They turned down the amnesty for agricultural workers, turned down the amnesty for essential workers. After that was turned down by the parliamentarian over the weekend, yesterday, a crowd of thousands and thousands and thousands of immigrants and their supporters, they went across the country, from across the country. They came to Washington, D.C. in what was basically to organize this extraordinarily short period of time, demanding Congress include a new pathway for green cards for undocumented people in America. As we talked about yesterday, the pathway that Congress wanted to do, the Democrats wanted to do, to put in the reconciliation bill, the 4 different amnesty bills, that got shot down by the parliamentarian. They are now in Plan B. People are demonstrating for Plan B. Plan B, if you missed it yesterday, it is changing the registry date. The registry is an old form of amnesty in the United States of America. It is on the books right now that if you were physically here on January 1st, 1972, you can get an amnesty. The reason why most people never heard of registry is because most people who've been here since 1972 already got their green cards.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I read a total of 58 people applied for registry in the last 6 years in the United States of America. 58 people.
Oh,
that's all that it would have covered. And by the way, a couple were from my office. At least 2, maybe 3, but at least 2 of them came from my office, because I know I've done at least 2, maybe even 3 that I can recall in the last couple of years.
Wow.
So the demonstrators called out the parliamentarians' ruling, specifically in speeches and signs during the Welcome Back Congress March for Citizenship, Care, and Climate rally. They also pressed Congress to pass ambitious climate legislation as well. Standing outside ICE headquarters, Luis Aguilar, the Virginia director for CASA, said for 4 years under the Trump administration, immigrants felt like enemies of the country, enemies of the United States of America. The government, Aguilar said, did as much as possible to remove immigrants and silence immigrants. At least now under the Biden administration, people feel the community can protest for a potential solution. He said a pathway to citizenship should be included in the budget reconciliation package because of the ways immigrants contribute to the nation's economy. Of course, I think everybody is in agreement with that. Senator Majority Leader Charles Schumer, he spoke to the crowd yesterday. He said that he will continue to fight for a pathway. As he was giving his speech, a majority, but most of the protesters broke out into a chant, "Do your job! Do your job!" And you want to know what? I would have said the same exact thing. A majority of Americans, 69% of Americans, that's almost 7 out of 10 American voters, believe there should be a pathway for immigrants to obtain their green cards as long as they meet certain requirements. This is according to the Pew Research Center. There is still a partisan split, however. The poll shows 86% of Democrats support undocumented immigrants having a pathway to getting legal residence, while only 48% of Republicans, which is almost 1 out of 2, which is still extraordinarily surprising. So right now we're waiting on the parliamentarian to decide on Plan B. Moving the registry date. The registry date will be moved from January 1st, 1972 to some date. We don't know.
Hopefully.
We're hoping January 1st, 2020.
2020 or 2021.
2021. We don't know. And if that date is moved, and the parliamentarian gives a thumbs up on that, the registry date will be included in the budget reconciliation, the change of the registry date. If the reconciliation passes, what that would mean for undocumented immigrants, if you were physically present on the day that the registry date changed to. So hypothetically, if it's January 1st, 2020, and you were physically here on January 1st, 2020, and again, hypothetical date, we don't know.
Right.
And you can prove you never left the United States from January 1st, 2020, which is our hypothetical Bradshaw Live date for registry, you would be eligible to file your adjustment of status application immediately. What do you get with adjustment of status? You get your work permit. You get your travel document. And ultimately, you would get an opportunity to get your green card. And ultimately, that's what we want. And by the way, people are going to ask, does it matter how I came? Not for registry. If you entered without inspection, you're cool. If you came on a visa, you are cool. The only thing is that you still have to be admissible to the United States of America. So if you have multiple crimes of moral turpitude, aggravated felonies, you may be barred from adjusting your status. But presuming you don't, you would be good to go, and your family members would be good to go. It's also possible, people say, well, what if my spouse has a criminal record and I don't? You get your registry, and then your spouse files for registry thereafter and can do a waiver through you because you already have the green card and you could show hardship. So, I mean, there's always ways around things, depending. They're also going to change the 245I rule. That's the grandfathering rule. Now, I remember, Jonathan, when I was a younger chicken, a younger Brad Bernstein with a full head of hair, a full head of black hair, not gray hair that I have now. Perhaps a little more thin around the jowls over here. Not this Brad. 1999, 2000 Brad. Okay? When I was a lawyer for about 6 years, they passed the 7 years. They passed the 245I. We had people in my little office. I had a smaller office back then, lined up down the hall. I couldn't fit them all in my office. And we had a race to get as many applications filed before April 30th. All of the, April 30th, 2001. And all of those people that we filed before April 30th, 2001, all of them, but for 245I, would never have been able to get their green cards. So, I mean, we got green cards for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, who knows how many people, all because they beat the filing deadline. And they were eligible because they beat that filing deadline under 245I, they were able to adjust their status. I was just actually having a laugh with some of the Spar and Bernstein team members who have been around for a very long time. And we were saying, wow, remember when 245I last passed, we were here in the office till 1 in the morning making sure everybody's applications every day, 7 days a week. We ate so much pizza. We were ordering pizza for lunch. We were ordering pizza for dinner. But we got the job done because we were talking about, oh my gosh, if this passes again, remember last time,
it's going to
be like pizza for lunch, pizza for dinner. We'll be here till 3 in the morning every day, but we will get it done. So 245I was an enormous saver for so many people who entered without inspection, who were married to U.S. citizens, for people who came on visas whose parents were filing for them, that they didn't have to go home, brothers and sisters filed for them, job sponsorships. There were so many job sponsorships done in the 245 era, people who overstayed their visas, people who came without inspection, who otherwise would not have been able to adjust their status, and if they had gone home would have a 10-year bar. Even to this day have 10-year bars. If 245I passes and you don't qualify for the registry date, you would still be able to do job sponsorships, family sponsorships, and be able to ultimately file your adjustment here, just like you would through registry. A couple more hoops you got to jump through. Those are the two things that's Plan B. And that's what people are protesting at in Washington, D.C. That's why people are actively watching our schmooze right now. They want to know what's going on. We are all waiting on bated breath. Now, assuming the parliamentarian, based on her last decision, I believe the parliamentarian's going to go positive on this one, because they're not making new laws. We talked about it. The parliamentarian says you're making a new law and trying to sneak it in as a budget thing. This is a change in an existing law to raise revenue.
Exactly.
So I believe this would pass muster. If it does, it gets into the reconciliation bill, and then the big question would be, because we will be on bated breath a second time, can the Democrats come together and pass the reconciliation bill? There is actually two bills. There is the reconciliation bill, and there is an infrastructure bill. The infrastructure bill has already been passed by a bipartisan Senate. It is a moderate, centrist infrastructure bill that provides $1 trillion or something close to that for specific infrastructure projects around the United States that is desperately needed. Progressives wanted several $trillion infrastructure package. They didn't get it. They are now putting it into this budget reconciliation. The progressives are saying they will not pass the infrastructure package unless they get their $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, which would provide for increase in taxes on the wealthy, free college, which is a great thing, by the way,
yes,
for all associate's degrees. All community colleges around the United States of America will now become free.
Nice.
So anyone in the United States of America would be able to go to community college for free. They're going to give,
amazing,
all sorts of child care credits and
nice,
preschool stuff and
we
stuff
need.
all needed. Social services, giving money to people who need it.
Yes.
The progressives want that bill to pass.
Nice.
They will not pass the infrastructure bill. Now you have the moderates, like Joe Manchin, who's the senator. He says he would never vote for $3.5 trillion. The Democrats need his vote. He's a Democratic senator. This is all a negotiation now amongst Democrats. Has nothing to do with Republicans. The Democrats need to get together, the progressives, which are the ultra liberals, and the moderates, which are the more centrist. You could say the moderates are your Bill Clintons of the world. Your progressives are the AOCs of the world and the Bernie Sanders of the world. These two groups of people need to come together to be able to pass both the infrastructure and the reconciliation, of which the immigration will be part of it.
Got you.
Yesterday, Representative Pramila Jayapal, the chairwoman of the Progressive Caucus, she stood by her claim that her members will not vote for the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill without passing the $3.5 trillion package.
Oh, wow.
Senator Manchin, who's part of the Bill Clinton group, he wrote an op-ed article. He would never, ever, ever vote for $3.5 trillion. That was about 10 days ago.
Oh, man.
So there has to be a compromise at some point in time in order to get all of this done. That requires an amazing political feat of magic by Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. They need to bring the two groups together
hopefully
to pass all of this, provided the parliamentarian allows the immigration bill to go in. And this all has to happen within the next week or two.
So many loopholes.
This all has to happen within the next week or two.
Right.
You know what they say about being a politician, a good politician? A good politician has mastered the art of compromise.
Right.
Okay? That is what a good politician will do. Hopefully there are enough good politicians in the Democratic Party that can muster the art of compromise, that they may not get everything, but they are fully satisfied that they've helped their constituents more than by not voting on it.
Yeah.
So by not voting on it, that's just being obstinate. you are never going to get everything you want. But if you get most of what you want and you have a better deal than no deal,
It's a win-win.
it's a win-win.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what's going to happen. Now, Nancy Pelosi would not confirm to CNN because September 27th is the day this is all supposed to be voted on. We still don't even know if the immigration plan B is going to be in the bill on September 27th, which is 5 days from now. She would not confirm to CNN if she plans to schedule the vote for both the infrastructure bill and the reconciliation package. There is so much going on behind closed doors that we don't know about yet. Okay? We will find out more over the next few days. A new book by Bob Woodward. You know who he is?
No.
He is the reporter who broke the Watergate scandal.
Oh, yeah.
Woodward and Bernstein. No relation to
Yes.
this Bernstein, but another famous Bernstein.
Yes.
There's more than one famous Bernstein in this world.
Right.
Woodward and Bernstein Bernstein was the reporter with Bob Woodward who broke the Watergate scandal that ultimately ended in Richard Nixon's resignation. So Bob Woodward has come out with a new book. Bernstein's not part of this book. He wrote it with a different guy, and it was co-authored with Washington Post reporter Robert Costa about the transition of the Donald Trump presidency, what happened after the election, through the insurrection, through Joe Biden becoming president. And now fresh evidence in this book shows what many people in Trump's inner circle knew in January, that his case to stay in power was meritless, but he was an unchained commander-in-chief who listened to acolytes pushing wild conspiracies. It was revealed in this book that Trump had blueprints that the Republicans tried to use to prevent Congress from certifying President Biden's clear and genuine victory in the form of a memo that laid out a plan for then Vice President Mike Pence to thwart Biden's Electoral College triumph on January 6th. It was written by lawyer John Eastman. It laid out a 6-step plan which included Pence throwing out the results in 7 states because they allegedly had competing electors. In fact, no state had actually put forward an alternate slate of electors. They were merely Trump allies claiming without any authority to be electors. And under Eastman's scheme, Pence would have declared Trump the winner with more Electoral College votes. The plan was first proposed to Pence when Eastman was with Trump in the Oval Office. Woodward wrote in Peril that Trump said to Pence at that meeting, "You really need to listen to John Eastman. He's a respected constitutional scholar. Hear him out." In the end, Mike Pence did not go along with Eastman's scheme, concluding that the Constitution did not give him any power beyond counting the electoral votes. When Pence refused, Trump turned on his vice president, attacking him on Twitter, even having people at the insurrection try to go bring Mike Pence out of Congress and hang him.
And they listened.
Peril also contains a passage that shows Trump cared little for the truth, what voters decided in November, or bedrock constitutional values, but agonized about his reputation. The paper trail, which is likely to be of intense interest in the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th insurrection. And as a fact, General Milley at the time, who was the Joint Chief of Staff, he had to speak to his counterpart in China, who was concerned, and he admitted this happened, who was concerned that Trump was going to start World War III with China. Right around January 6th, he had to call his counterpart in China to say, the United States is not going to start a war with you, and you have my personal word that if we will start a war with you, you'll get a call from me first.
Right.
Just so nobody would have an itchy trigger finger.
Yeah.
You know, China's got nuclear weapons too. You know, we don't want them to miscalculate and start a war when we weren't starting a war. But they were concerned enough, you know, General Milley was concerned enough that he had to call his counterparts in China. You didn't realize this at the time, how scary it all was.
Yeah.
Now, there's also a lawsuit. There's also a lawsuit by the companies that made the two voting machines for libel and slander. 2 weeks after the 2020 election, a team of Donald Trump's lawyers held a news conference saying that these voting machines were rigged and that some unknown people from Venezuela, remember this?
Yes.
Some unknown people from Venezuela, financed by George Soros, who always finances Democratic causes, tried to steal the presidential election from Donald Trump. But the problem was that there was internal memos within the Trump White House that within 2 weeks of the election, there were internal memos given out to the president, to the vice president, and his entire team saying all of these accusations they knew were not true. Yet they continued to peddle it on Fox News, other right-wing media. To this day, there is a large minority of people in America who believe these voting machines were rigged. Even the pillow guy, remember that stupid pillow guy who sells the pillows on Fox News? He was walking around, what's his name? Mike what? Mike Lindell. He was walking around with papers saying, I have the proof here.
Right.
Now, court papers filed last week as a motion in a defamation lawsuit brought against the Trump campaign and others in the Trump administration by former Dominion employee Eric Coomer contain evidence that they were absolutely aware this was all BS. It was Trump trying to steal the election. It was really a coup.
Trolling.
He was trying in two different ways. He was trying to get Pence to overturn the election, and he was trying to convince people that the election was a fraud because these voting machines were rigged.
Which is both illegal, right?
Now, according to emails contained in these motions and documents, Zach Parkinson, then the Trump campaign's deputy director of communications, reached out to his team on November 13th, asking them to substantiate or debunk several matters concerning the Dominion voting machines. The next day, the emails show Parkinson received a copy of a memo put together by his staff from news articles and fact-checking services. The memo rebutted a series of allegations that Trump's people were making in public, including that Dominion did not use voting technology from the software company Smartmatic in the 2020 election, that Dominion had no direct ties to Venezuela, Dominion had no direct ties to George Soros, and that there was no evidence that Dominion's leadership had any connections to Antifa activists, as Trump was claiming. So there's $1 billion lawsuit on that.
Do you think they have an actual case?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. And it's
Good.
also against Fox News and many other right-wing news medias. Meanwhile, our friends at Johns Hopkins University, Yo-Yo,
Yes.
say there are now 42.48 million confirmed coronavirus cases, more than 680,000 deaths. Worldwide, 229 million cases, 4.7 million deaths worldwide. According to the latest Fox News poll, we don't like Fox News here, but we're going to use their polls. Majorities of Americans support both wearing masks and support vaccine mandates. This is Fox News saying this. 3/4 of registered voters are extremely concerned about the pandemic. Sizable majorities of Americans believe we should be wearing face masks. That's 69%. 65% of Americans believe that vaccines are effective and favor a different various range of mandates requiring people to take the vaccine. The new survey released Sunday finds 2/3 believe schools should require masks of teachers and students, and businesses should do the same. So a vast majority of Americans believe in masks, they believe in mandates, and they believe in the vaccine. And this is coming from Fox
News.
Are you ready? Are you ready for Hump Day?
Listen, I'm as ready as I can be.
It's Hump Day.
All right, just make sure you're more than an arm's length away
This
from me.
right here doesn't help.
No,
it
this
looks
does
like
not
we're
help.
a lot
Give you
closer.
a much better.
There we go.
All right, so as I said, there have been numerous sightings of people running naked through the streets of New York City, including one sighting of a man wearing only black socks. Here he is right there. Shoes, carrying a gym bag. Completely naked. Shoes, black socks, gym bag. And he's sauntering around the streets of the Upper East Side.
Look at him at the restaurant.
Completely naked as he's passing people at restaurants. This unmasked streaker, he's casually walking. It's not like he's running through the streets. Casually walking near Central Park on Fifth Avenue in broad daylight, prompting socialite Dori Cooperman to post a picture of his derrière on Instagram with the comment, "Only in New York." So it is a true sighting. This past week, he gave a show to outdoor diners, including Park Avenue socialite Eleanora Kennedy, when he wandered past swanky eatery Amaranth on 62nd Street. That's on 62nd between Madison and 5th.
Okay.
It has been a season of streakers in the Big Apple. The Today Show got on its own news flash and cut to commercials after a streaker sprinted into the studio on Monday. Past the studio Monday morning while hosts Hoda Cobb, Savannah Guthrie, and Craig Melvin were live on the air. They had to cut to a commercial. The naked runner was seen jogging right outside the NBC Studios 1A window that looks out onto the streets of Midtown Manhattan.
That's hilarious.
I mean, we got streakers everywhere. What the heck's going on in New York?
Too bad this isn't a window.
Yes. Now, there was a naked runner, Melvin said, before attempting to segue into a bit about Cobb's new podcast. What's happening? Oh my gosh, Hoda, a flustered Guthrie added. Now, the streaker made off in a flash. Unfortunately for NBC, his lower half was mostly concealed. It all started. I know when this all started.
When?
There was a Valentine's Day run.
Oh, gosh.
About 2 years ago. I believe we know who the first streaker was. Do you know who the first streaker was in New York City? Yes, it was our very own Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias.
These damn pictures will never.
Our first streaker in New York City. He was running around in his underwear, red underwear, with what is it? Like a
wings and a bow and arrow.
Little bow and arrow. You were ready to. There he was, streaking just in his red underwear.
Mercy.
And you know what? And I think these other people, they got a little stir crazy. They saw you. They said,
trendsetter.
We're gonna one up Yo-Yo. We're just not even gonna.
Oh God, that scared me. I thought that was me. I was like, wait.
We're not even gonna put on the red underwear. We're just going naked.
Yeah, they one up me.
So that's what's going on. Meanwhile, it's not just men, Yo-Yo. It's women too. An anonymous blonde woman set passenger shaming sites aflame after she was filmed strolling through a U.S. airport in nothing but a bikini. With a face mask. She had an itsy bitsy bikini and a face mask. And she was going on Spirit Airlines.
Of course.
Yeah, so the caption of the viral video reads, "When you have a pool party at noon and a Spirit Airlines flight to catch at 4, this is what you look like." So it went completely viral. The footage features the woman walking nonchalantly through the terminal of Spirit Airlines Terminal Airport, sporting an olive green swimwear and toting a backpack. While the airport attire may be questionable, she was still wearing a face mask.
That's too funny.
Yes, it's unclear if she actually got on the plane or not.
I don't think you can.
I wouldn't think.
I could have sworn I read a story of somebody who, like, it was a lady who had a blouse or something that was a little too revealing, and she got in trouble.
Kicked off of American.
Yeah.
But this is Spirit. That's completely different. All hell breaks loose on Spirit Airlines.
Spirit. There was a rapper just last week that had a microphone and she was rapping up and down the aisle.
Every time something crazy happens, isn't it? It doesn't on airlines. It's always on Spirit Airlines.
Spirit is like $10 tickets.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like some crazy stuff happening on Spirit Airlines. Meanwhile, this is just absolutely just strange. I'm sorry, I have to talk about this, Jonathan, but it's in my cards.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, according to the Danish national broadcast DR, young Danes are sticking nicotine pouches up their asses for fun.
Isn't that dangerous though?
Why? What is a nicotine patch going to do up your tuchus? What is a nicotine patch going to do up your tuchus? Is it going to prevent you from what?
People are bored.
That is bored. I mean, come on. Health experts from across Denmark, including the country's National Health Institute,
that doesn't even look safe.
They're confirming the trend. Nicotine pouches are very popular in Scandinavia. In July, a Danish law came into effect that banned the use of nicotine pouches during school hours.
What?
So perhaps what it is because the law now says that you can't have a nicotine patch during school hours, people are hiding it up their tuchus.
So now, wouldn't that cause anal cancer or something?
I have no idea what it would cause, but I would say it would cause complete discomfort. One teenager spoke and recounted how he and a group of friends. It's a group of friends getting together and sticking it up their tuchus. This is disgusting.
It's disgusting.
The moral of the story: tobacco is not good for you, no matter where you stick it. That is the Brad Show Live PSA.
There we go.
For our public service announcement. Public service announcement.
There we go.
All right. Yeah. Public service announcement. There
Say
you
no
go.
to drugs in your tuchus.
That's right. All right. And finally, Jonathan, an OnlyFans model claimed.
Okay.
We're at OnlyFans now.
Oh,
she claims she is so attractive, she doesn't have or need any female friends. Moriah Mills said female friendships are hard for her because women are afraid she's just too damn hot.
So this is so interesting. I literally just had a conversation with my friend last night, and she's a gorgeous model. And we were just having this conversation last night. Just having it last night.
And she was saying that she's too hot to have friends?
She didn't really say it like that, but she was hanging out with very, very famous models who have millions of followers, and they met up at a rooftop randomly, right? And they were like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty. Your skin is so chocolate." And the other girl was chocolate too. So it was all love. Then they met again later that weekend at Drake's party, and they were in the same section, and they literally turned up their nose and looked the other way.
Are people? Is it because
they want all the attention for themselves?
They're jealous.
Yeah,
there's jealousy involved.
Yeah.
Well, Moriah Mills has argued that her curves are all natural. She's done no surgery, and she's hoping to get a breast reduction so people will stop looking at her 34 triple Ds. Triple D! She added that having a curvy, voluptuous figure has discouraged her from having any friends.
Yeah.
On Britain's This Morning, she said, "I've had female friends before, but as I grew up and cared more about my appearance, the friends have become less and less. I've had women tell me they don't want me around because their husband is looking at my 34
it makes sense.
triple Ds."
It makes sense. It's unfortunate, and I can see why she would be lonely.
Well, she says she doesn't get lonely. She has a dog, and she keeps busy. She says, "I think men love my body and chest, but lots of women make snide comments about them. I'll catch people staring at me while I'm out, or they'll just start talking to my chest. I'm tired of the comments and constant staring and just want to be able to walk around in public without someone staring at my breasts."
She says she's not lonely, but I believe she is.
Well,
if you're talking about you have your dog and work, and that makes you not lonely.
But then why is she on OnlyFans?
Because she's making money.
Promoting her triple Ds.
Listen, it's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is it's about to make you money. The curse is, look.
By the way, guess how much she makes
How much?
from her gig per month?
How much?
$300,000 a month.
So would you like to ask that question again?
So I will now say to Moriah Mills, don't touch your body, because she may start losing money.
Yeah.
She'll gain some friends, but start losing some money.
Money isn't always happiness.
That is true. Now Mills, she makes over $300,000. I don't want to upset them, but it is my body and my choice. I do worry that my fans might not like it, though. In terms of getting a breast reduction. Now, meeting people is kind of hard because I feel like they judge a book by its cover before getting to know them. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, she's on OnlyFans, 34 Triple D.
But like, when she talks about that, she's talking about like without, because just seeing her on the street, you wouldn't know that she was on OnlyFans.
That's true.
So, like,
you're still judging.
You're still judging. She could be fully clothed.
That's right.
And you know, in literally anything, but you know, they're always going to judge her or look at her different. You know, so I understand where she's coming from. I understand, not personally, but you know, from people I know.
All right, so that is our hump day of the day. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.